Good morning, lovely people. How are you today? I hope you're well. We have sunshine. Oh, it's making such a difference. It really feels like we're finally maybe gonna have spring. Now, what are we up to today? Something a bit different. I have done this on maybe 3 or 4 occasions before, a little social experiment on myself. And it was prompted, so I haven't done this for it's before COVID, so maybe 6-7 years ago. And it was prompted when I was doing that weekly shop video a few videos back and talking about the packaging. And I thought, oh, it's high time I did my self-experiment. I haven't done it for years. And that is to keep all my rubbish for a week. I mean, we all keep our rubbish for a week, don't we? We keep it and then the bin men take it away. But what I mean is to have my week's rubbish and at the end of the week to look at it and analyse it and see where can I do better. Because we all can. A lot of us, we think, oh yeah, I'm living pretty green. I'm doing quite well, and we can get a bit complacent. I get complacent, and I think I'm doing my best, and that's got to be good enough. But by doing this little experiment, every now and again, like I said, it's been about 6 or 7 years. The first time I did it, I think it was something like 1999. I was thinking new millennia, we've got to be more caring of the planet. And I looked at all my rubbish for a week and thought, wow, yeah, I can definitely do better. And then every now and again since then, I have another look and think, am I slipping on some things? Anyway, so that's the point. That's the point of today's experiment. I'm going to share my results with you. It's all down here. I've got my props. I've got all my rubbish to show you. So we can look at it together and I can think about areas where I can do better, and we can just, hopefully give each other ideas. So I'm sitting on them. Hang on. Whoopla. Oh, a bit more. Whoopla. I don't have wheelie bins or dustbins at my property because I open straight onto the street. I've got no front yard, no backyard, no yardage. So my council deliver me these. So this is for recycling. It's quite a big one, isn't it? Bin sacks. So I'm supposed to put my rubbish out I think recycling is once a week, landfill is once a fortnight. But that's the bag. And at the end of today, I'm going to put my rubbish in these bags, bearing in mind it's just 1 week's. So you have to imagine it being 2 weeks worth to see what goes into this to put out. And then this is that's my landfill rubbish. So it's probably a sort of like a bog standard large black bin bag. So that's what I get given. I get given more recycling bags than the orange ones. So I think my recycling is permitted once a week and my landfill once a fortnight. The reason I actually don't know is because I've never filled one of these bags, and certainly after a week there's not enough to go out. So let's start with the bad stuff. No, let's start with the good stuff. Let's start with recycling and see if there's anywhere where you can do better. So let me see how much I can tip it up. That is 1 week's worth of rubbish from my household. Actually, let me get the other one as well so you can see. This is all my rubbish for a week. This is just on a dish. It's not including the dish. But that is the entire rubbish from my household for 1 week. So what have I actually got? There are 4 tin cans. That's quite standard. Sometimes it could be 6, sometimes it could be 2. Occasionally it's none. And certainly when I had the garden, it would be less because I'd be using my beans from the garden. A lot of this is tinned beans now. Tin, the way I understand it, is fairly easy to recycle in terms of the energy it takes to do it. It's one of the better materials. Also going out this week, finally I've used up my olive oil. Again, it's in a tin can, so that should be fairly easy to recycle. Paper. Now, there's quite a lot of paper. So what I like to do when I'm doing this bit each time I've done this experiment is slightly break it down. So for example, that is paper that's all to do with my food. So I've got a couple of cardboard boxes, that was the mushrooms. I've got the wrapping from the porridge. There are 4 labels from the tin cans. And then that is my yoghurt. So the yoghurt pots are now made from with much less plastic in them, but in order to make them rigid to stay standing up in the shop, they put these cardboard covers on them. So again, paper not too much of an issue to recycle. So that's all from food. Obviously next week there won't be a porridge, wrap it in there. There won't be a porridge, wrap it in. That 1 kilo bag of porridge does me for 20 breakfasts, so nearly 3 weeks. So for the next, I've got it this week, but then for the next 2 weeks there won't be that. Who knows how much there'll be from beans. Also in paper is this week I've started a new deodorant. So that's my new deodorant, and that's the rubbish from my old deodorant. Again, it's cardboard. This is personal hygiene now. I had to buy some more hair clips because 2 of them snapped. They're metal, so however, they're in the bathroom still. They're metal, so they'll go in with the recycling with the tin cans. But I needed some new ones, and they've come on a cardboard sheet. Great. And this week, it is day 7 today. There's only 1 loo roll innard, but the other one is just about to finish. So actually by the time I put this out, it will probably be 2 loo roll innards. Then a bit of junk mail, an envelope which, as you can see, I've cut off all the bits that are plain. It wasn't plain on the back. I've cut off all the bits that were plain to use for list making. And that's pretty much what this last little stack is. It's all about list making. But every piece of paper in this house gets used twice, at least. So front and back for list making, except on this one. This was a letter. I had a letter from my bank about some back statements. So that letter gets chopped up into note-sized pieces, list maker. Envelopes get chopped up. I'm sure you all do the same. Shopping lists out of envelopes. So yeah, every piece of paper gets used at least twice before it ends up in the recycling. So far, I don't think that's too bad. The thing with the list making, and I know people are going to say, oh, if you got yourself a smartphone, you could do your list on your phone. I just don't work like that. It's just not how my brain works. To have to turn a telephone on to read a list. These get stuck, pinned on my pin board, so I just don't ever forget anything. So I am going to be a paper list maker, I think, for the rest of my life. I don't think I can cut that down, but I will always, like I said, I will always second use a piece of paper for something. It will get used until there's not an inch of space on it. So I think in terms of food waste, 4 tin cans, the olive oil, and then there's a few pieces of the paper. It's not too bad, and that's largely because I try to buy so much of my veg loose. However, this is the bit I don't like. I got 3 bits of plastic. So that's the tray that the blueberries were on. Oh, and weirdly, in the bottom there was a little bit of bubble wrap. Took that out, washed it. That's going to be used. And actually, it's the kind of size of bubble wrap where if I'm selling something in the shop, if it's a pot with a lid, it's the perfect size for me to put between the pot and the lid and then wrap up for postage, because just to stop the lid and the pot rattling against each other. So But the tray, it's recyclable in my household recycling. More of that in a second. That is the pot from my yoghurt. So I get 3 portions out of that. I have them on alternate days. So that pot represents sort of 6 days. So there will be another pot coming up probably in a couple of days' time. And then a thread spool. It's from Gutermann. Now I know, for example, that they are now doing a recycled polyester thread. So a poly, is it a poly cotton mix? I'm not quite sure, look it up. But they are doing some recycled thread. One of the reasons to do this experiment every now and again, it's that thing of having a really close up thing about, hang on, I'm taking it for granted that I just put this in the recycling every week. But actually, and for those of us who are sewers, if we're getting through tons and tons of these, what about sending it back to Gutermann to reuse? Would they take it? So that's an email or letter for me to write at some point in the next week or so when I've got a minute. Write a letter to the company to say, look, there's a lot of plastic here. I know you say it's recyclable. It's I can't remember which one it is now. It's poly, of course it's poly something, or it's got P in it. I know you say they're recyclable, but it takes a lot of energy to break this down to then turn it into something else. Why don't we miss that step out and just reuse it as a spool thread? Can I please send it back to your factory? They'd have to get the old paper label off. That would probably soak off in water, and use it again. So I think to myself, right, I'm glad I've done this experiment. That my recycling can go in the recycling bag now, but that can stay out. Where's my bag gone? That can stay out as a visual reminder to me that I need to get in touch with Gutermann to ask them. Hang on a second, flappy noise. So I can get in touch with Gutermann to say, recycling isn't good enough. We need to be reusing. Can I send them back to you? And even if they say, yeah, you can, but it would need to be a minimum quantity, they might say, you'd need to. We would only accept it if they were say 100 that you were sending back. Fine. Then you get together with your friends in the neighbourhood, with sewing groups in the neighbourhood. You set up a collection point in your neighbourhood, whether it be at your community centre, if you have sewing and crafting groups, at your church, wherever it is that you gather with other people. Even if it's, if it was something like your church, if you're going every week, have a bucket you keep in the vestry and you just bring it out every week. So as people come into church, they drop in there. There's always a way. There's not always a way, but we should always try to find a way. So yeah, that would be my job. So this is my recycling that I get this a massive bag for. This is every week, but actually that's it. I mean, it's just nothing, is it? Hold on. Just drop it to the street. That's it. It's not even a carrier bag's worth, which is why I end up with so many of these spare bags. My neighbours always say, "Have you got leftover bags?" Because that doesn't need to go out for. I mean, honestly, a bag that size, I don't think I'd fill it even in 3 or 4 months. But I'll put it out before then. Now onto the naughties, the nasty stuff, the stuff which I have no choice but to put into landfill. And that's it. Hang on, let's take it off there so you can see it properly. That's it. That's a week of rubbish. Oh, hold on, bring it this way, the camera can see it. That is a week of rubbish at Chez Vivi, as in landfill. Now, some of it, on the wrappers it says, not for home recycling. Some of it is you need to take it back to the shop and they have collection bins. None of mine do. Others, it says, contact your nearest dirt recycling centre. And I look up and it's like it's somewhere in Kent, you need a car to get there, or do I post it? What do I, you've made it almost impossible. So, what have I ended up with? The lid from my yoghurt. That's the 2 lids, the wrappings from the 2 punnets of mushrooms. That I could improve on if, so let's make 2 piles. If I can find mushrooms for sale loose, I could improve and get rid of that. That is my spinach leaves. I've never seen spinach being sold loose, ever. So I don't think I can improve on that. That was the film lid. I fold them to make them neat. That's the film lid from my blueberries. Again, that would be one of those I can't get to recycling centres. Now this is one of the ones that annoyed me and that made me go, this is why I do the experiment, to remind me that I've got choices. I can do something else. That's my, again folded up, that's my, you can just probably make out, that's my bag of prunes from Lidl. Not for home recycling, but even more annoying is it's got one of these resealable things in. So it's like a Ziploc bag zip. Let me just try and open it. So inside it, there's this zip mechanism that's even more plastic. It's completely unnecessary. When you open your big bag of prunes and you don't use all the prunes, you maybe take out 10 for a snack, as I do. Fold the top over, get a peg it closed. We don't need these zips adding into all these food bags. That is a total waste of plastic that's now going to go into landfill and is probably going to be there for the next 500 years or more. We don't know at the moment. So that, and I was thinking, that's another letter to write this week. So I'll put that with my Guterman, is to write to Lidl to say, please stop putting those resealable things in. It's adding excess plastic. It's not needed. Fold the top over, use a peg to keep it closed, or decant it into some Tupperware or a glass jar, an airtight container. We simply do not need these. We've managed for years and years and years with our food to not have bags with zips on them. So that's a letter to write. I can't do anything about that. Oh no, mushrooms I might be able to. So this is a couple of interesting ones. That is the inside of I'm getting warm, the sun's coming round. Should we strip? Let's strip. That's the inside of a roll of sellotape. And it was tape to try. I've been trying all sorts of plastic-free tapes over the years. Had this one for ages and ages and ages. Haven't used much of it, but I think it's Scotch is the make, and it's their magic tape. And it's plastic free. Brilliant. But now I'm left with this. And I went onto their website, I tried to find out what this thing is made from. There's nothing, so I don't know if I can recycle it, and because I don't know if I can, I won't, because if I put that in my recycling, that contaminates my entire recycling. My entire recycling would be thrown into landfill because I've contaminated it with a non-recyclable item. Be aware of that. So, I liked the way the tape worked. I was happy with its performance, but I'm not happy to be left with that. So I've never used them again. I have, in the meantime, I've got a couple of ideas down here for you about, changes and whatever. So in the meantime, I have tried quite a few. This is the one that I'm happiest with. It's by a company called Natty. And the roll in the middle is cardboard, so the whole thing can go into the recycling. It's still not fantastic. It doesn't stick to itself very well. So as I go, if I've got a line of tape going that way and I want to bring a line over this way, it's going to have enough paper to anchor onto because it won't stick on the middle bit there. It's better than everything else I've tried. But yeah, so that's disappointing that you're selling a product as being a more sustainable and ecologically better choice, but yet you've put this lump of plastic in the middle of it and you haven't told us what kind of plastic it is and whether we can recycle it. So what was the point in buying a sustainable product when it's not sustainable? So that goes there. And then this is the last bit, and I've got a couple of ideas for you. Then the other kind of like light bulb moment this week, thank goodness, right at the beginning of the week. Have I got it in the drawer here? I've got one in the drawer here. Hang on, I need to go fetch a prop. I can see my prop is sitting on the sofa. Hang on a jiffy. That's better. Right, so sometime before Christmas, the lovely Nikki, hi Nikki, she who sent me the book I Contain Multitudes, and I've got another one on my nightstand there about, oh my goodness, about wildfires, which I think is going to be a hard read. Anyway, she also sent me a box. It contained 2 pens, which were filled, and 2 refills, and she said, they're great. She works in healthcare too, so has to document things, and so this is one of them. It's a uni ball. It's got a medium nib, which I like. I don't like fine nibs. It's too small and scratchy. She said they are so lovely to write with. I started the first one. I thought, oh, this is the pen of my dreams. It's a really, really lovely pen to write with. The ink just flows out, it's so smooth. It's an absolute delight to write with this pen, and I write a lot. So to find it, anyway, yeah, I was chuffed. So I soon used up the first one, put the next refill, used that up. So recently, do you remember, because I had the sweetheart sweets sent to me, I wanted to find refills. I wanted to not use that nasty big company, you know who, on the box. There are a number of reasons why I loathe that company and I refuse to use them. So I wanted to find a company local as possible to get my refills. And I did. I found a pen company down in Kent, and they do everything. It's pen heaven. So I ordered... how many did I 3 or 4? I can't remember now. I think I ordered 4 refills. So this is the innards of the pen that are no longer of use. So that's to be thrown away. So it's still quite a lot to throw away, but it's such a lovely writing pen. So obviously the body of the pen and the lid you keep and use again and again and again. The refills came and my heart sank, actually, because the refills come with a massive plastic lid, and then the entire thing is in a individual plastic wrapping. Oh, where did I put it? They should be on this table, actually. So I refilled my pen, so it is refilled, but I just thought, that's still too much. That's still too much to be put. I am just one individual person. Imagine all the millions of the people all over the world shoving one of those in the ground every 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 months, because that's what we're doing. We're putting that. It's like digging a hole in your back garden and putting that in it. All the billions of people all over the world burying that in their garden every 3 or 4 months. It's too much. So I will use them until they've run out, but in the meantime, I resurrected, I've got my fountain pen. I love my fountain pen. But I haven't used it for since last summer, because the ink just wasn't flowing properly. It was really annoying me. It was just scratchy and unflowing. Anyway, I was determined to be using it again, so I just took my time and I washed it and washed it and washed it and washed it, and that means winding the plunger in, winding the plunger out, winding the plunger in, winding the plunger out, over and over and over and over again. And I think I finally got it so that it's flowing nicely again. So that's fantastic. I'm chuffed because my ink comes in a bottle, and it's a glass bottle. Yay! I bought myself another fountain pen as well, and so this one, it's all metal, apart from there's a little bit in the middle which it's the bladder for the ink is plastic, but of course I use that over and over again. It's not a disposable cartridge, it's it's like a plunge that you pull up, it draws the ink into it. So that's been in there. How long have I had this pen? Probably since I was about 19 or 20, 30. Don't flatter yourself, Vivi, it's more than 30 years. Anyway, you get the idea. And the rest of it is metal, so when it's had its day. And I've recently bought another one. It's wooden, it's mostly wood. But again, that inside section, the bladder is plastic, but it's a plunger one, so it will last hopefully forever. Because the reason I've got two, and I'm going to start looking in charity shops for maybe a third or even a fourth, is this one sits on my desk, at my desk in the kitchen, and gets used every single day in that spot. This one sits on my little table next to the stool, and it gets used every day in that position too, because if I'm reading or listening to something or just relaxing for a minute on the sofa, my brain is always whirring. There's always thoughts of things I want to do, things I want to remember. A pen there. I also have a pen on my nightstand and a pen in my day bag. It's not handbag, my crossbody bag. So I thought if I do get one more fountain pen, it could be the one that's for the nightstand, but also for my bag when I go out. Or maybe I'll just manage with these two. But the point is, now the only waste I will create with these will be, I don't know how long a jar of ink will last me. I've had that one quite a while. But it will be a glass popped every now and again to put into the recycling, instead of that every couple of months. I can't be doing that every 2 or 3 months. I can't do that to the planet. I can't and I won't. So if I manage to get mushrooms loose, then that would reduce my weekly, or at least this week's rubbish to, if I bring it up here a bit, it would reduce my rubbish to that. That's what's going in the bin. But in future, there won't be that or that. So that could be what my weekly shopping rubbish, my weekly rubbish looks like in future. That would be great. But that's not what it's like at the moment. So in it goes. Hold on, fluffy snap. So this big bin bag, I think it's weekly actually. Hold on a sec. There we go. So I mean, it's not even that. All of my rubbish would fit in a crisp packet. So I don't think I'm doing too badly. Hold on. Not too bad, but like I said, do an experiment like this and it just highlights, could do better. The pens, the sellotape could do better. Letters to write, can I send this back to your factory? Please stop adding so much useless plastic. And of course, oh yeah, sorry, I mean, well, here we go, it's probably blooming obvious, isn't it? But when you go shopping, take your kit with you. Take your shopping bags with you. I'm still flabbergasted when I'm at the shop and someone's got a basket full of goodies and the till person says, do you need a bag? And they say yes. I think, why did you come shopping without a bag? And if you're going to buy a bag, buy a jute bag. Don't buy anyway. So it goes without saying, when you go shopping, take stuff with you to carry it home in, whether it's a bag, a granny trolley, whatever it is. It's the plastic bag police. Also, get yourself, you know what, when someone says to you, what do you want for Christmas? And you say, really, I don't need anything. They say, no, I'd like to get you something. Say to them, you know what, get me some cloth loose veg bags. These little loose veg bags, some of them, this one still works. I've got two where this is broken, but some of them actually have a drawstring that stays shut. Get yourself some little, make your own little cotton bags for loose produce. I also have a little array of, it's an ex-soap tin actually, but that's perfect for when I go shopping for a shampoo bar from, I won't say the brand, I won't give them a promotion particularly, but where I go to get my shampoo bars, everything is sold loose, and at most they'll give you a paper bag to take it home in, but why? I can take my little tin with me. Thank you very much. They put it in there, I pay for it, comes home with me. Zero packaging. We can all, I think we can all do a little bit better. Let's try. Let's just all those little things that we can do, and just question as well. Maybe have a month when you're out and about doing your shopping of saying, I'm going to question everything. It might be a bit exhausting. That's what I'm saying. Just do it for a month, but then when you've done it for a month, you'll feel more, hopefully. Knowledge is power all the time, isn't it? But yeah, question it. Like, why is that? Why does that have to be in so much packaging? It's in so much packaging. I'm not going to get it. Oh, that's what I meant about lessons for me. The prunes in a bag like that. I'm sorry, that's too much plastic. That's absolute nonsense. I'm going to go and find my prunes elsewhere. And it may be that I can only find prunes in a plastic bag, but let's find it in a plastic bag that doesn't also include a plastic zip as extra. See what I mean? Sorry, I sounded a bit like... I don't mean to be dictatorial at all. This is an experiment for me. It's shown me that I can do better. Back to only using fountain pens. Brilliant. And let's see what I can do about all these spools that I end up with. Right. Keep up the good work, everybody. I will see you again really soon. I'm not sure for what, but I will see you soon. So until then... please look after yourselves, and happy experimenting. Give it a go for a week. See if you can get your family on board to say, we're going to keep all the rubbish this week, and at the end of the week, we're going to look at it all. Of course, you might have smelly stuff like compost. Don't bother looking at that, because it's, if it's gone in the compost bin, mine goes to a friend's compost bin now, my onion skins, and it's minimal, because I don't tend to peel my veg. My minimal bit of veggie waste, friend's compost bin. But all the rest of it, keep it for a week, and at the end of the week, you might want to put newspapers on your dining table or your kitchen table, but get together as a family and look through the rubbish and think, where can we reduce? Reduce in the first place is better, but also is there somewhere we can swap so that it's now a recyclable thing rather than a non-recyclable? Recycling should be the absolute last step. We shouldn't have refuse. Recycle should be the bottom rung of the ladder. Anyway, yeah, have fun. See what happens in your household and who's to blame. No, don't. It's not about blame. It's not about that. It's about educating ourselves. All right, lovelies, until the next one. Cheerio.